Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and it's been a while since I did a Lord of the Rings Rings of Power video dedicated to just Rings of Power, because Rings of Power has been quite silent despite their show being only a couple months away. But recently, Amazon Prime put out really a trailer for Prime itself more than Rings of Power, but kind of had Rings of Power stuffed in there in a weird way. So we're going to be reacting to this trailer. Shout out to Adam the Renaissance Nerd for sending this to me. It is awful, and I can't wait to break this down with you guys. I just can't believe that Amazon Prime thought this was a good idea, that it was morally upright, or just sending a good message, because the whole thing is about sending a message to diverse children. Children should not be taking any messages or taking any lessons from this trailer. But let's jump right into it. So just generic bullying stuff, nothing crazy, something you'd expect from, just setting the scene. No problems with it up to this point, but you're starting to see a little bit of what's going on here when you look outside the video itself. So the Earth needs more elf fans. See where it takes you. What does that mean? The Earth needs more elf fans. You kind of start to get worried there, considering the current state of Hollywood. It's like, please don't mean what I think you mean. And then you look at the glorious thing over here, and that's the ratio. Holy fucking shit. Now, as Disparu says on Friday Night Tights, it is an estimate, but even plus or minus 1,000 dislikes is not good for this trailer, for Prime, or for the Rings of Power. I mean, look at that. Not even 1,000 upvotes to over 6,000 downvotes. That is an incredible ratio, especially with 300,000 views, over 300,000 views. That is really impressive to see. I'm surprised they still have the comments turned on, and you can kind of see most of them are negative. You can kind of go through those on your own. But yeah, this is when you start to realize that there's something else going on, that this kind of generic, non-offensive opening might be leading to something way worse than what you expected. So let's keep going. So yeah, still very generic stuff.
And then why?
Really nothing important. And of course he finds a Lord of the Rings Rings of Power cover for Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. He finds one of the Rings of Power covers. And now this was pointed out by Adam the Renaissance Nerd, for shout out to him. He thought it was hilarious that the Rings of Power copy of Lord of the Rings was just lost on some shelf covered in dust. I doubt they see the irony in that, but the show's not even out and they're saying, oh yeah, our books are going to be covered in dust and forgotten. And I think that's hilarious as well. But yeah, these covers, it doesn't have anything to do with it. I always hated when like movies or TV shows did reprints of the books they were based on with their actors on the covers. I always thought it was dumb and didn't look great. But at least if they were actually adapting the books, I could get over it. Like if Lord of the Rings book had Aragorn from the Lord of the Rings with Viggo Mortensen on the cover, fine, he's actually in the book. But these covers are about characters that don't even exist within the Lord of the Rings books, with a few exceptions. So it's just nonsensical. It's just a cheap marketing tool that is soulless and has no creative through line. So these book covers I could talk about for a long time, how stupid they are in and of themselves. But yeah, they're rightfully covered in dust and forgotten for this child to find. Still pretty innocuous at this point. Nothing too crazy. The cliche of the kid hiding under the covers, it's kind of a cliche for a reason. It's got this magical feel to it. A lot of people point it out as a problem. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Again, a lot of the stuff up to this point has been rather innocuous. It's really later on where we get into the bad stuff. It's just what they think of nerds, and I really find that a bit offensive. Is they're like, yep, this is what nerds are like. They're not good at sports, they're not good at band, they're not good at anything that makes you a popular kid. Their mom makes fun of them, they're so stupid. And yeah, I don't think that's a good portrayal of nerds, whether or not they're diverse children or not. It's just a bad representation of nerds, because there's a lot of nerds who have a lot of divergent interests and backgrounds and talents. Like the cliche of nerds not being good at sports is no longer an accurate one. I'm a nerd and I'm decent at sports. I played football and I was really good, starting center in my football team. So it's just they're playing into too many cliches at this point that seem soulless cash grab. That's what it seems. Soulless cash grabs wrapped in cliches at this point. And yeah, the ends. Nothing too offensive in that. It's just alright. And then he decides to watch Rings of Power. If he read the books, and that's what he's like basing this off of, he's gonna be in for a rude awakening, because this isn't the books whatsoever. So it's kind of funny how that's what inspires him. And of course, he gets it from Amazon, orders to cosplay from Amazon. It's like a threefold marketing thing for Amazon in general. It's not a bad costume, but this is when things got to get really bad. So this is all about, hey, little diverse children, you can be a fan of Lord of the Rings too, and you're gonna like this, which is fine in and of itself. But they're portraying a child running away from home to go to this Comic Con or this fan expo or this opening of the Rings of Power, alone riding on the bus in the middle of this town. That is not safe. They are not teaching children safe practices. You need to show him, like, convincing his mom to take him. Because, yeah, if this is all about sending a message to children, this is the message that's going to come out of it. Is if your parents are too stupid to realize how important the things you love are, just run away and do it yourself. That is not a good message that these people are sending. It's just a soulless marketing campaign wrapped in cliches sending terrible messages to children. I just can't believe that this was even approved for a commercial. It's cringe, if nothing else. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and as Adam pointed out there as well, the most important thing was Amazon, the soulless cash grabs, and even Lord of the Rings so tiny. And you want to put Tolkien up there because he created the universe. So yeah, shout out to Adam again for that. But Jesus Christ. More cosplayers. He's found his people. Rings of Power fans. They're probably really weird. So, yeah, I guess it keeps going. But it's still that whole thing about, yeah, kid, if your parents don't understand you, if they're not your people, run away and find your own people. And, yeah, it's just stacked on nonsense in this trailer. I can't believe it got approved. It's cringe as fuck and doesn't properly represent the world of Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, and Rings of Power. So why would someone read Lord of the Rings and be like, oh yeah, I need me some Rings of Power, because it's a completely different thing. So yeah, just a lot wrong with this short 1 minute, 2 minute trailer for Rings of Power, and this promotional deal for Amazon as a whole. Amazon is known for really bad commercials for itself. Like the Medusa one they did a few months ago, that was some of the worst stuff I've ever seen put to commercial. This is a close second. So Amazon continually just misunderstanding the franchises they own, completely misunderstanding the movements in which they make statements on. They're just not attuned to the world in which they exist in. It's all about the money, and I could respect that to a certain extent if they were at least understanding where the money was actually at, because Rings of Power will not make the money, so they're stupid wanting money. It's not a great combination. So I really look forward to the train wreck that is coming with Rings of Power and everything that else that's going to come along with it. And I actually look forward to the Rings of Power because of that. I think it's going to be such a bad train wreck that I'll just have to sit back and laugh, which is what I did when I first watched this awful trailer. So yeah, again, it's an awful ratio. Seems like everything Rings of Power has been putting out has been horribly ratioed. That's probably why they're releasing so little content despite their upcoming show being only a few months away. It's very unusual for so little to come out, and I can see why they're not doing it, because it's been summarily rejected. And it's only going to get worse before they decide to make a change and make anything better. But while this is going to be the worst stuff to ever happen to Lord of the Rings or Tolkien's universe, there are some good positives that are coming. The Return to Moria video game looks great, and the War of the Rohirrim anime looks incredible. So if you're disenfranchised with Rings of Power and you're wanting some good Lord of the Rings, those are great options for you going forward. That's how I'm going to be getting my nerd off with Lord of the Rings, while Amazon completely destroys this franchise, at least the portion of it that they own. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.